Hey, welcome back to Stories with Dave. This is Hokey Pokey, Ch.1, Scapegoats and Love Ewes. The news of an adult toy store opening out on Route 111 shot through the collective consciousness of Cokeville, Tennessee like the roar of a beer fart squeezed against the front row pew of the First Mission Baptist Church during a choral pause in the communion hymn on Easter Sunday. It was the sort of news that packed its own resonance. Social hubs lit up across town and out into the hollers and valleys of the county like fireflies mating at Cades Cove in June. And if you listened carefully from the right spot on Jefferson Avenue during one night in particular, you could hear telephones ringing faintly, now at one house, then at the next, and then on down the next block down, and so on, their chimes cascading out into the dark distance like the jingling, fragile wing beats of 1,000 tardy dildo fairies. Did you hear? Oh, my Lord, are you sure? Nothing that worthy of gossip had occurred in Cokeville or anywhere else on the Cumberland Plateau since the town fathers legally gathered to legalize liquor by the drink. While the powers that be had debated that particular issue behind closed doors, good citizens all gathered outside the courthouse, pushing wheelbarrows full of their own minor transgressions and their outright sins. And they sat on the little benches in the shade of the trees on the plaza, where they whittled chunks of pine, sucked on cinnamon-flavored toothpicks, spit into the mulch, and awaited a verdict. When the gavel finally fell against the fan-blown silence of the courtroom that steamy late July afternoon, and Judge Clovis Greenwood uttered the words, "So be it," they all stood and stretched and pushed their wheelbarrows forward in silence, shook them empty into the waiting, gaping moral hole of liquor by the drink. Every community needs a good scapegoat, and a scapegoat is a rare critter in a town like Cokeville, where people pride themselves on being at least God-fearing and clean living enough not to have institutionalized sin in ways that were obvious from Main Street. When a decent, healthy scapegoat does chance to happen by in a town like Cokeville, you bag all your dirty britches and load them in the wheelbarrow and wheel it down yonder to the courthouse or to the church just as fast as you can, see if you can head it off. But there was a new dynamic at play in the news of Hokey Pokey opening its doors up little old Route 111. Since its proprietor, Spencer Eminette, had broken no laws per se, Hokey Pokey was exceedingly difficult to leverage into a critter that resembled a goat. And without a bona fide goat, the ritual courthouse falderall was little more than a Saturday matinee in the theater of the absurd. They might as well have all walked hand in hand down to the church to gnash their teeth and rend their garments and dance and make a loud noise before the Lord. They might have done just that, too, had that particular event not already been scheduled and printed up in the church calendar for the last Sunday in April. To the extent that Hokey Pokey would ever become a viable scapegoat, it would do so in private, and when that happened, when public matters of moral concern turned private, the tendency among good citizens of Putnam County was to eschew scapegoating altogether, or at least turn the volume down on it some, and simply embrace the overarching hypocrisy with the abject loyalty of an ugly lot lizard. Just surrender, in for a mug, in for a jug, as they say. Besides, they had yet to encounter the social dilemma that couldn't be solved once and for all with a Molotov cocktail or a few sticks of dynamite. They could afford to wait and see. In the end, the only significant change in store for the good citizenry of the county of Putnam was the inevitable presence of a great many brand new, glitter-infused, party-colored, bead-packed, multi-speed, variably vibrating latex phalluses, tucked carefully into hiding places arranged in the backs of closets, along baseboards next to makeshift clandestine liquor cabinets and cardboard boxes stacked with mason jars full of apple pie moonshine, and maybe the odd inflatable sheep or two. Thanks for joining me today for Stories with Dave. Tune in next time for part 2 of chapter 1 of Hokey Pokey.